Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I'm your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our terrier mix, Sophie. Welcome. Happy January, everybody. It is January 19th, and it's about 10:30 in the morning. I've been up for a while. Ron and I have been working a lot of hours. I think I mentioned in my last podcast that January is a rough month for my department. We do all the 1099s, which, if you're familiar, have to be out by January 31st. And so we do them for all of the offices in Colorado, which means that we have a lot to do. And put it on top of that, the bookkeeping for the year end is not just the month, it's the entire, we have to make sure that everything's done for the entire year for some clients. And yeah, it's just been a lot of long hours. And then on top of all of that, I am taking another class. I don't know if I if you've been watching the podcast for a while, I've been doing this for 2 years now, which is crazy. I went through the graduation ceremony for GCU, which is where I got my degree from, in April with my husband and my brother. Here's a picture of us, and I did that because even though I didn't have all of my classes done, all of my credits in, because I was supposed to take some CLEP tests. I was supposed to take 4 or 5, I believe, and the idea was that I was going to get them done over last year, 2018. However, let me say, I did a lot. I did several tests, all but one. And it was a biology test. I had to do it in critical thinking, which meant that I could do it for biology, chemistry, natural sciences, which encompassed like all of the sciences, or calculus or trigonometry, I believe. And that's just not the way my brain works. And so I was just, I don't test well as it is on a good day. And when my brain already doesn't kind of work in that way, it was going to be a 6-credit test, and I just couldn't get there. I just couldn't get there. And then when I started working full time, it just made things that much worse. And coming up to the end of the year, and I still hadn't taken the test, and so my options were to take the test and do my odds, or take the class from school. And so I opted to take the class because I knew that I could pass the class. I wasn't sure I could pass the test. So I am 3 weeks into 8 weeks of biology, environmental sciences biology, which is not a hard class, but it's a bit time consuming. And so I'm working, 50 plus hours a week, plus I'm coming home and I'm doing homework. And Ron is working 60 hours a week, and then we've just been beat up from the feet up, tore up from the floor up, and so we were talking last night as 9 o'clock comes on a Friday night, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go to bed. I just can't keep my eyes open anymore. He said, you know what? I think what we should do is we should just let ourselves wake up naturally. Turn off our alarms, because we normally try not to sleep in too late on Saturday, try to be up by 8. And I said, you know what, that's a good idea. We need to kind of catch up. We didn't think about the dog, or I didn't think about the dog. So Sophie woke me up at 7:30 this morning with the need to relieve herself, and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I've been up for a while. My family, however, has just woken up. Well, with the exception of Delaney, who was woken up by Lilu, because Lilu's been getting wet food for breakfast in the morning, and she alerted Delaney that it was time for her meal. And so Delaney and I have been up for a while. Tatum and Run have just kind of been getting up recently. Sorry, I completely digressed. I'll put a timestamp so you can skip that if you're not interested. If you are looking for me, you can find me on Ravelry as Cristi-Lael, and on Instagram and Goodreads as Cristi-Lael without the dash. The spellings will be below. And we have a relatively crafty podcast group on Ravelry, which is kind of dead right now, but I am hoping that once January is over and once I finish this class, which should be mid-February, I can have another knit-along. I have kind of missed having those for the past several months, so hopefully we can do that. If you have an idea for a knit-along that you've just been itching to do, let me know. You know, whether it be a type of knitting or yeah, whatever idea you have, let me know down below. I would love to hear them. My brain's a little fried right now, so I don't know that I could come up with an idea if I had to. So let's go ahead and get into the knitting. I have several FOs, actually. Some of them aren't here, but I do have pictures, and so I can show those to you. And those are the socks that I finished for my mom. If you recall, I hired an Etsy shop to hand crank 3 sock blanks three skeins into sock snakes, as Amy of Stranded calls them. And my plan was to knit the heels, toes, and cuffs and give these to Mom for Christmas, 3 socks for Christmas, because I had not knit her any socks last year, and I normally knit her, you know, a half dozen or so. However, I was completely drowning in knitting that I had to get done in December, and so I did not get any of those 3 pairs of socks done. Instead, I gave her a box, which I showed you guys last podcast, that had 2 pairs of partial socks. I think they had toes and cuffs, but no heels, and then a snake that had nothing. And I told her that I would get them done for January. So I took the opportunity in January, and that was one thing that I managed to do. And so I have the 3 pairs of socks that I've knit for Mom, or let me rephrase that. I have the 3 pairs of socks that I knit the heels, toes, and cuffs for Mom. I did not do the body of the sock. The first pair is out of Woolly Wonka fibers. I believe the colorway, I don't remember what the colorway is. I will put it down here. But Woolly Wonka, and then that was a variegated skein, and I love the way that they turned out. I used leftover scraps for heels and toes. I believe that most of them are Lolo Did It little Lolos that I had leftovers. A little Lolo comes with 20 grams, and I can do a pair of socks, heels and toes, for less than 10 grams, or around 10 grams, and then I have leftovers, and so I saved them for other socks. So so that's what I did. This one I didn't have enough in one color, so the heels are one color and the toes are another color, but I think they complement the colorway very well. And then I have White Birch Fiber Arts in the Purple Rain, Purple Rainbow colorway, and I used another little Lolo for that. For the heels and toes. I love the way this colorway knit up. I really love White Birch's stripy sequences. I just think she's very, very talented with her striping. And then the final pair, I can't remember the name. It's a brand, or it's a dyer that I'm not all that familiar with, and this was the only skein of hers that I had. I bought it on a D-stash, but no, that's entirely wrong. This is Fireweed Dye Works, which is a dyer that I'm actually familiar with, and I've knit like 3 or 4 of her skeins into socks for myself. The colorway, I think, is Easter eggs or Mother's Day. Something. I'll put that down here. I may completely be lying about both of those names. I know it kind of reminds me of Easter eggs because it's kind of pastel-y. It'll be down here regardless. And then I used a little low in just a bright pink for the heels and toes on that. And I've gifted all 3 pairs to my mom, and she's worn them and she says they're lovely. The cranking gauge is a lot looser than my gauge, so I was afraid that they were going to be a little bit loose, but she says they're not too bad. So that is something to keep in mind if you're going to hire out for this. That if you knit on a tighter gauge, it's going to be different. You could see a difference between, you know, the heel and the leg of the sock, or the toe and the foot of the sock. Not like massive different, but you could see a difference. And yeah, at least I was able to give her some socks because I was feeling really bad about the amount of socks that I knit for her last year. So I'm starting 2019 strong with 3 pairs in. And then I have 2 other sock FOs. The first is my final box of socks, socks for 2018, which I knit entirely out of Knitterly Things Vesper sock. This was her final Rainbow of the Month colorway, that from 2017 Rainbow of the Month Club, and the colorway is called Fireside Hearth Song, and it came with a 20-gram mini in black. And I wasn't going to use the 20-gram mini because I don't like black, but my heel fell right in this black stripe, and so I figured, why not? And I think it looks great. I still don't like black, but I think that this complements this sock quite a lot. So I do not regret knitting the heel out of black. I did these with my regular recipe: a Turkish toe cast on, a true afterthought heel, and then 1x1 ribbing with Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. I absolutely love how these came out, and I love every single sock that I knit for my box of socks last year. I showed you guys my box last month, or last podcast, and I did that because I knew that I did not want to wait until these were done and I could podcast again before I could wear those socks. And I have been wearing them over the past 2 weeks, and almost 3 weeks since I podcast last, and I've just been loving them. I've been wearing them, and my Lolo Did It Hippo for the Holidays for 2018. It's been such a happy 3 weeks being able to pull out a brand new pair of socks and put them on my feet every single day. I just love it. I just really, really love putting on a new pair of socks. So I'm thinking that maybe because I have so many that don't, you know, I don't need new socks, I'm thinking that any socks that I knit for myself, you know, maybe next year or later on this year, then I'm just going to set them aside and save them because I don't really need them. And it's so great to just like have a full new, you know, like a partially full sock drawer that's just got a bunch of new socks in it. So I may do that. I may just wait until I retire a pair of socks and then put a new pair in or something like that. I don't know. But these are done, and I did not finish those in December, obviously. I finished them in January, but that is okay with me. And then I told you guys that that I was not going to knit myself any socks in 2019. And when I said it, I was like, yes, I'm not going to knit myself any socks in 2019. And I haven't. I mean, except for finishing this pair, I haven't. But I have to say that I have been sorely tempted on several occasions already, and January's not even over, so we'll see how that goes. When I finished these, I said, well, you know, I need to pick out a new pair, a new skein to knit, and what do I want to knit? I had just finished those 3 pairs for Mom previously, and so I was like, well, maybe I should knit something for somebody else. Let me look at my stuff. And right up here, you guys can't see it, but I'll post a picture, is a shelf that I have all of my skeined sock yarn on. And then on the other side of the room, I have a cedar chest that has all of my sweater yarn and non-sock yarn. And then I should say these are my like full 100-gram skeins of sock yarn. And then I have this basket, or what, I don't know if you call it a basket, this thing that has all of my 50 grams or socks sets. It's got, like, this is 100 grams, but it's 2 50-gram skeins. And then I've got the same with this. But then I've got a bunch of these sock sets that I have gotten. This one's from Hand Dyed by Kate, which I think is no longer a shop. I've got some by Erin of Bling Your String. And then I've got some by... here we go. Here's one. By Giddy Yarns, Helen of Giddy Yarns in the UK. And so I was looking at these, and then I also have this big box that I keep gobstopper balls and gradients that have already been caked up type things. So you can see, oh, and my sock blanks are also in here. So anyway, I'm looking through these, and I'm like, okay, I gotta pick yarn for somebody else. But then I'm like, oh, this is so pretty. I would love to make this for me. Oh, this is gorgeous. I would love to make this for me. Oh my gosh, these would be so much fun. I'd love to make these for me. I'm definitely not knitting this into socks for anybody else but me. And, yeah, I was just like, man, I have got to pick for somebody else. I was having such a hard time because I really wanted to knit all the things into socks for me. And I'm not going to say that I'm a selfish knitter because I'm not. This is my hobby, and I do not think that it's selfish for me to want to knit things, to enjoy my hobby with yarn that I have bought because I love it, into things for me. That's I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But since I am trying to knit socks for other people, I do need to remember that and remind myself of that when I'm getting excited about all the things that I could knit for me. And I'm not saying that I'm not knitting anything else for me. It's just socks. I'm just trying to get through some socks for other people because I want to knit them for other people. But the other things that I'm knitting, I can totally knit for myself whenever I want to. And honestly, if I really decide that there's a pair of socks that I just really need to knit for myself next week, then I'm totally going to do that, and I won't even feel bad about it because, again, this is my hobby, and I can enjoy it in the ways that I so desire because it's mine. But I did find something that I wanted to knit for somebody else for socks, and those were socks for my daughter. I have a couple of skeins of mustache yarn, and I hadn't knit it with her yarn before, but I do like that she, on occasion, sells these partial skeins. I'm not really sure how they become partial skeins. I don't know if they have knots in them or if it's just leftover or what, but she sells these partial skeins, and the price is based on the total grams involved. And I have just gone through and because they sell up fast, I've just kind of grabbed the ones that I could, and figured I will figure something to do with them later. And so I had this 32 or 33 gram skein of mustache yarns in R2 color, in the R2 colorway, which is R2D2 from Star Wars. And I started out thinking that I was going to knit them into fingerless gloves. It was part of her perfect pair, perfect something. Let me see if I can. I don't know. It's perfect something where you have two equal skeins and you wind them up separately, and then you knit each sock from each skein and they match exactly. And so I didn't realize that this 33 gram skein was that until I started winding it, and I was like, whoa, these are not attached to each other. And so I had two like 16 gram skeinlets, cakes, and cakelets, if you will, because they were small. And so my plan was to knit a pair of fingerless gloves for myself. But as I was going through, I had done the ribbing and most of the cuff, and I realized I probably wasn't going to have enough. Or I didn't think I was going to have enough, and I didn't know that I wanted to play that kind of yarn chicken. So instead, I decided to rip that out and knit a pair of Rose City rollers for Delaney. She has smaller feet. She has the smallest feet so far, although probably by this time next year she will no longer have the smallest feet in the family, because my Aunt Kathy, who lives in Texas, wears a U.S. woman's 4.5. So right now she and Delaney have the same sized feet. And so anyway, I decided to knit her some Rose City rollers, and I knew I was going to have to use something for heels and toes. So I just went through and picked out, I had a couple of leftover little Lolos that were like 3 grams, 2.5, 3 grams. Decided to use those for heels and toes. And I didn't have enough to do the whole pair of socks, you know, all 4 heels and toes in one color. So I asked Delaney if it was okay if I kind of mixed and matched, and she said that was totally fine. She's a child after my own heart and totally doesn't need to be matchy-matchy. So, so yeah, that's what I did. This is the first one. I'm showing them to you separately because they have totally different heels and toes. And I absolutely love this R2 colorway. I just think it's perfect. It's totally R2D2 too. I mean, we like pulled up a picture of him, and yep, the colors match. And then I think this is Elba Island. This is the purple that I used on Mom's Purple Rainbow socks. I don't know the name of it. And this, as I said, is the Rose City Rollers pattern, which I have knit before and really love. It's a top-down shorty sock that you don't put any ribbing on, so the cuff rolls a little bit, and yeah, it's perfect. And then this is the other one, second sock. I think this is Sriracha. This, I don't know what that is, but it's also a little Lolo. And so the pair is done, and I think they turned out beautifully. They fit Delaney perfectly. There's a slight little extra space at the toe, so she could grow a little bit more, which is good because she's still a growing girl. But yeah, she has, if you recall from my last podcast, she was trying to steal my final pair of Hippo for the Holidays socks, the Hippo for Baby Blue. And I told her that she could go through my retired sock drawer. I had, I don't know, 12 pairs maybe that were sitting in the secondary drawer that I wasn't planning on wearing anymore, and I told her she could go through and see if there was any in there that she liked. She took all of them and has been wearing them every single day. So I figure if she loves wearing hand knit socks now, then I will knit her hand knit socks. And yeah, that just, it makes me happy to see that she's happy with my knitting. Okay, and then my final FO is my Hippo for the Holidays scrappy hat. I had leftovers, all the Hippo for the Holidays socks, because I used contrasting heels and toes. I had about a half a skein left of all the ones that I've knit over the past 2 years. Well, almost all of them. There's a couple that I used for multiple projects already, like the fingerless gloves that I knit for my coworkers for Christmas. But I saved Hippo for Baby Yellow, which became these socks, and Hippo for Baby Orange, which became these socks, because I just loved those two colorways so much, and I wanted to put them together and make myself a hat. So I knit myself a hat out of those two colorways. There is no pattern. I just came up with it out of my head. I think I started on a 3 for the ribbing, and I cast on 100 stitches. I obviously held the yarn double, so I've got kind of a DK weight yarn. I knit the cuff 30 rows, I think, and then I folded it. I didn't fold it under, I folded it over, and then knit it together with knit the two sides together, so it's double brimmed. And then I think I knit the body of the hat about 5 inches, and then did decreases, just real simple, because I had 100 stitches. I knit 8, knit 2 together, knit 8, knit 2 together all the way through. Knit a single row, knit 7, knit 2 together. Did a single row, knit 6, knit 2 together, until I knit them all together. And then I had, I think, 10 stitches left, and I just drew the yarn through. And yeah, very, very simple. I absolutely love it. I'm going to wear it all the time. It's exactly what I wanted. It's warm around my ears, and, you know, forehead where it's double brimmed. It fits, it, you know, it's a beanie. It's not slouchy in any way, which is exactly what I was looking for. And I think I'm going to knit myself more of them, because I absolutely love it. And I know that I told you guys to, like, slap me if I said that I was going to enter any other knit-alongs this year, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe I could do hats for Lolo Did It Hippo for the Holidays 2019. I don't know. I managed January, and we're just going to leave it at that for right now. But yeah, I really, really love how this hat turned out. I'm so in love with it. I think the yellow and the orange complement each other so well. Gosh, I just think it's perfect. I'm so happy. So happy with this hat. So yeah, okay, that is all that I finished. And I do have a couple of whips, but they're not, there's not a lot to them. I will say that most of my knitting time for the past week and a half or so has been on the project that is in here, which is a super secret, cannot tell you project. I can't show you anything. I can't tell you anything except for that you'll find out about it later in the year. But I'm excited about it. I'm loving it. It is a project that I could very well see myself knitting again for my own pleasure. And yeah, I think it's awesome. And I totally think that when it's unveiled, you should totally make one yourself. But I can't tell you about it. But I can't, like, give you any other details other than that. Just that it is awesome. I have started another pair of socks. This pair is for my mom. And I haven't gotten very far. I just started them yesterday. But I do have a bit of a toe. Not a complete toe yet. This yarn is Giddy Knits. It's one of her sock sets that I bought last year, maybe 2018. I think so. I think I discovered Helen at Giddy Knits in 2018. Yes, because she did the Christmas colorway sock set in 2017 that Christmas, and Amy at Stranded showed her socks that she knit from it, and that's when I discovered Helen, and I bought that, of course, because I'm still looking to make 25 pairs of Christmas socks eventually. And then I started buying more of her sock sets throughout the year. So this is Giddy Knits, or Giddy Yarns, as I said. Her podcast, I think, is called Giddy Knits. And the colorway is Ballerina in her Giddy sock set. It comes with this beautiful purple 20-gram mini, and then this just lovely pink speckled 50-gram mini, or 50-gram skein that you put together and make a pair of socks out of. So that is my plan, and these will be for my mom. This is totally my mom's type of a colorway. She loves pink, she loves this blue, and she loves this purple, and so it's perfect for her. So this will be the first full pair of socks that I knit for Mom for 2019. And then the only other thing that I have on the needles is the Brunswick that I am knitting for Lauren at Lolo Did It. The Brunswick is a pattern designed by Marie Green, and Lauren wanted me to knit this for her this month. It has been put on hold for the Super Secret project, but that it has been put on hold with the permission of Lauren. So so she knows and is fully supportive of that. But I have gotten some progress. Ooh, maybe I need to sleep more. I have gotten some progress done. There. It doesn't look like much. Let me show you the back. They're a short row shaping, so the back is a little bit higher than the front. So here is what I got so far. There. Hopefully you guys can see that. A couple of inches. Not a lot. I'm still doing increases for the raglan. I am knitting it out of this beautiful yarn. This is Lolo Did It, obviously in her solo base, S-O, capital S-O, capital L-O, solo. And the colorway is BBSLN, which I don't know what that means, BBSLN. And yeah, I'm knitting Brunswick, which looks like this, or will eventually look like this. And the contrasting color that I'm doing for the color work at the bottom is this black. And that's it. It's, like I said, it's not got much, but it's got some. As soon as I finish the Super Secret project, which hopefully will be this weekend, I will get back to this. And next time I podcast, I will, if not have an entire sweater finished, I will have a lot more to show you. Speaking of next time I podcast, you might notice that I've been podcasting like once a month, kind of at the beginning of the month, for the past several months. However, I'm kind of trying to get back into a little bit more often, not weekly like I was before, but maybe once every 3, maybe once every 2 weeks. It all depends on how my knitting goes. I've been very excited about knitting lately, and so I've been knitting more, and it's wonderful. It's a great feeling. The time that I am home, that I am not working on homework, I am knitting, and I'm loving being excited about it again. It probably helps that there's, 3 inches of snow on the ground outside. I love the winter. So that is it for what I have on the needles. I do like to talk about things that I'm planning on knitting. The next pair of socks I'm going to knit will be a pair of socks for Ron. And I held up a bunch of different colorways that I had set aside for his socks, and asked him to pick one. This is the one that he picked. This is Online Super Sock Panama color. Oh, it's got aloe vera in it. Aloe vera? It says mit aloe vera and yo-yo ball. That's in German. I don't know what that I mean, aloe vera, I understand, and that's with, I don't know what that is. It's 150 grams. It says here 75% virgin wool and 25% polyamide, which is, you know, normal. So I don't know what the, it doesn't feel super soft. Super soft, man. Anyway, that's my Californian accent. So anyway, the colorway is right there, 1764, and it's a self-patterning. Online sock is self-patterning like Regia or Opal, and this will be the pair that I make for Ron next. So after I finish the pair for my mom, I will start those for Ron, and they should take just slightly longer than it takes for me to knit a pair of socks for myself. He wears a 10.5 size shoe, but really that's only like an extra 1.5 inches of knitting. He doesn't need any extra stitches cast on, so I will do his with 64 stitches like normal, and yeah, he'll be fine. Another thing that I am probably going to be casting on pretty soon is a hat for my mother-in-law. She asked for one right around the middle of December, and I told her it was going to have to wait until January. She said that would be fine. And she asked for it to be in specific colors. She said she wanted gray and silver. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to make that happen. I wasn't really sure, but I was at the yarn shop the other day and came across this in the bulky section. And look at that. You may not be able to tell, but it's gray, obviously. And all of this is silver stellina. So it's gray and silver. I've done it. This is Barocco Brio, which is a super bulky. And 49% wool, 48% acrylic, and 3% other fiber, whatever that means. I'm going to knit her a super bulky hat. It should knit up very quickly. In fact, we pick her up for church next Sunday, so I might have it done by then. And if that is the case, I will take a picture of it to be able to show you guys on my next podcast. This is, excuse me, this is also part of Yarn Haul because I just picked this up along with these other pretties. Part of the things that my company presented us with for Christmas, along with the holiday party, which was fantastic, and some other little goodies that they did throughout the month of December. They, the partner came to each of us individually with a Christmas card and a hand-to-hand shake, which was awesome. He's very involved with all of his employees. There's, you know, over 100 people that work in my office, and he knows us all by name and tries to invest himself in our lives. Appropriately, obviously. And anyway, in the card was a $100 gift card, which I thought was awesome. I wasn't expecting anything, and so I thought it was great. I got the okay from Ron to be able to use that on something that I wanted, instead of using it for like something for all of us, the entire family. He said, no, it's yours. You go ahead and use it. So I went yarn shopping, as you do. And I bought something at my local yarn shop, which is Colorful Yarns in Centennial. Fantastic yarn shop if you're ever in the Denver area of Colorado. Colorful Yarns has the dyer behind Chasing Rabbits Fiber Co. Do like monthly colorways for the shop, and I love that they do this. I have purchased several of them, and I'm super excited about them. They're always beautiful. And this was Colorful June, which I bought because, oh my goodness, look at it. It's gorgeous. So I bought it in June. And there were leftovers, and every time that I saw it, I was like, oh, that would make a great sweater. I really should get some and make it into a sweater. I would love to have this as a sweater. So I finally did it with my $100 gift card. I had this skein. I picked up 3 more skeins, so I have 4 total. Oops. And then I picked up this other skein of Chasing Rabbits fiber in the indigo colorway, which is this nice indigo blue, which I think complements the chartreuse perfectly. And this is what I'm planning on making with it. Yeah, picked out a pattern and everything, and now I'm just reminding myself that I've got other things that I have to finish before I can cast this on. But I am hoping to get it as one of my 2019 sweaters, because I just love, 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 love it. I love how it looks. I love the colors that I've picked. I think it's going to be perfect. And then lastly, I picked up another skein from Giddy Yarns. This is one of her stripers in a gobstopper ball, and it is actually a Christmas colorway. The colorway is called Grandma's Christmas Tree, so it will go in with my Christmas stuff. I'm assuming this is the color of the tree, and these are all of the ornaments or lights. And yeah, I love it. So couldn't pass that up. And that's it. That's all of the yarny things that I have to show you guys today. I do have a little bit to say about books. I actually read some books that I liked quite a lot lately. On audio, I listened to this recently. Sorry, very, very shiny. The Last Boy and Girl in the World by Siobhan Vivian. And I have read some other works by Siobhan Vivian and really liked them. I was seeing if it was within reaching distance, and it is not. So, but she wrote The List, which she wrote several years ago, and it was about a high school where she writes YA fiction, YA contemporaries. It was about a high school where at the beginning of the year, somebody, and nobody knows who, puts out a list of the most beautiful girl from each grade level and the least beautiful girl from each grade level. And the story is told every chapter from one of these girls that's on the list and how the list affects them. I thought it was really good. And it didn't get the greatest reviews. The same thing happened with this. I really enjoyed this, and it didn't get the greatest reviews. I think it's got like a 3.4 rating on Goodreads, which surprises me because I gave it a 4-star. I really, really liked it. This is about a poor valley town called Aberdeen that has been dealing with some flooding for a while, and the main character is Keely, who is a high school junior. They've just learned that the town is going to be flooded completely, and it's going to be the end of the town, and it's kind of about how Keely deals with that, and she's dealing with it as a 16-year-old girl, which is selfish and inappropriate at times, and not really seeing the entire big picture. In fact, on the back it says, when the rain first began to fall, we didn't see the big picture. We didn't even want to. The bigger picture was for our parents to worry about. We were 16, 17, and 18 and focused on more exciting things, like how many days we had left till school was out, and spring formal, and our dresses. And when it started, the only thing I cared about was kissing Jessie Ford. So it's that kind of book. You know, you need to understand that Keely is going to be a teenager, and she's going to act like a teenager, and her friends are also going to act like teenagers, and they're going to have teenage issues that they're going to think about more than adult issues. And so I thought it was good. I liked it. Yes, Keely is frustrating, but teenagers are frustrating often. I know, because I have one. So anyway, I enjoyed it. If you like YA fiction, you might enjoy it as well. And then for adult, I have been reading the A Love Story series by Christopher Moore. Christopher Moore writes funny, fantasy, sci-fi, magical realism type stories. I discovered him last year when I read A Dirty Job and its sequel, Secondhand Souls, which is about Charlie Asher, who discovers that he may be death, like all of a sudden, and I really, really enjoyed it. He's funny. Christopher Moore is funny, irreverent, as you would need to be for these kinds of books, but funny and kind of, you know, intellectually funny. So I really enjoyed this duology, and so when I came across another book that he'd written, Bloodsucking Fiends, I thought, well, I surely need to read that because it's called Bloodsucking Fiends, right? So it's obviously about vampires. And this is mostly about Jody, who was just walking home one night and was attacked, wakes up the next night to find out that she has become a vampire, and kind of how she's dealing with it. It was written a while ago. Let me see, 1995. So it's an older book, and the technology, of course, is dated. He refers to people calling on their cellular phones, because back then it wasn't all that common for everybody to have a cell phone, and texting was not a thing and that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool to kind of look back. Obviously the way that let's just say that this would not fit in with the kind of Me Too movement, the way that other people are seen, both females and males. It's different. So you have to kind of remember that. But I did find it funny, and I listened to it on audio, and I think that the narrator does a fantastic job. I enjoyed this, and then I've moved on to the second one, which is called You Suck. And I'm, I don't know, about a quarter of the way through maybe, and I'm a little bit further than this. I haven't updated it from my reading yesterday, but I am enjoying this. I probably even more. This, let's see how much time fell between. Oh, wow. 2007. That's interesting. That is very interesting. So this was written in 1995. This one in 2007, and that's quite a jump. And it's dedicated to my readers by request. So apparently there was a need. There was a need. So yeah. So I'm going to finish this one soon, and then I'm going to read the third one, which is called Bite Me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. My only complaint is that these are in these beautiful hardback editions, and I just absolutely love the covers. This one has not been released on hardback. It's the same style of art, but it's only in paperback, and I wish that they would update that because I'm one of those people, and I don't like it when they don't match. All right, guys, that's it. That's what I got for today. It is now lunchtime. My tummy is telling me, and so I'm going to clean up my mess, and I'm going to go eat lunch, and then I have to do homework. Hopefully I can get this edited this weekend and up, and yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Happy knitting. Take care. Bye.